There's a kind of silence in space that feels louder than a scream. A silence filled with echoes of what could have been. That's where we left Star Wars Outlaws, adrift in its own ambition, lost in the noise of bugs, bland combat, and a story that never quite found its pulse. Back in August 2024, we gave it a 6. And that 6 didn't sting because it was harsh. It stung because we wanted to believe. We wanted this scoundrel's story to work, to be more than another forgotten title orbiting the legacy of a galaxy far, far away. But now, something's changed. A whisper among the wreckage, a glint of treasure buried in disappointment, a pirate's fortune. A new DLC that doesn't just promise redemption, it dares to ask, what if the game we gave up on actually became good? This isn't just about content. It's about second chances, about unfinished stories, and about a charming rogue who might just steal back not only your credits, but your curiosity. So grab your blaster. The galaxy might still have one more secret to give. When Star Wars Outlaws launched, it had all the makings of an instant classic. A rebellious protagonist, a sprawling galaxy to explore, and that unmistakable Star Wars charm humming beneath it all. But for many, it fell painfully short. Not because it lacked heart, but because it felt unfinished, like someone cut the story halfway through its sentence. Players were promised the thrill of scoundrel life, fast ships, dangerous jobs, and back-alley deals under twin suns. What we got instead was a beautiful world dragged down by clunky mechanics, confused writing, and an AI that could barely tell the difference between a blaster and a broom. So when a pirate's fortune was announced, the reaction wasn't excitement. It was skepticism. Another patch job, another shallow add-on. But then came the patches, the updates, quiet, consistent, and surprisingly focused. And suddenly, a question began to echo louder. What if this wasn't just a DLC? What if this was the turning point? We're no strangers to redemption arcs in Star Wars. We've seen heroes fall and rise again. Could the same be true for this game? That's what brought us back. Not hope exactly, but curiosity. The kind that only comes when something wants. Broken starts whispering that it might still have something left to say. And we were ready to listen. A galaxy this lawless doesn't forgive easily, but it never stops whispering to the brave or the foolish. A pirate's fortune begins like all great heists do, with a half-mad promise, a map to a lost treasure, and a partner you probably shouldn't trust. This time, Kay Vess and her trusty droid ND5 are drawn into the chaotic key system, an isolated corner of space humming with secrets and danger. Their goal? A long-rumored relic hidden deep within the ancient Keepy tomb. Their wild card? A face that every true Star Wars fan will instantly recognize. Hondo Ohnaka. Smuggler, liar, opportunist, legend. Voiced once again by the iconic Jim Cummings, Hondo doesn't just show up, he steals the scene, the mission, and arguably the entire DLC. His charisma is electric, his intentions questionable at best. But that's the magic of Hondo. You never quite know if he's saving your life or selling you out. Opposing them is Stinger Tash, ruthless leader of the Roana Raiders who's after the same treasure for very different reasons. The setup is classic Star Wars, unlikely alliances, buried secrets, and a race against time. And yet, for all its promise, the ending doesn't roar. It whispers, a little too softly, but the journey, the banter, betrayals, and beautifully strange moments, it's the kind of tale scoundrels live for, and the kind that makes you stay. If you're stepping into a pirate's fortune expecting an overhaul, new mechanics, revolutionary systems, or wild reinventions, lower your blaster. This DLC doesn't reinvent the ship, but it does patch the hull, polish the chrome, and finally, give the engines the kick they were missing at launch. The core gameplay remains largely familiar. Third-person combat, light stealth, and ship piloting, all mechanics you've seen before. But the difference now? They work. They finally feel good. Enemy AI, once laughably oblivious, is now more responsive, even aggressive. Raiders will flank you, suppress you, and actually act like they want to win. Sure, they'll still occasionally miss Kay, even when she's crouched next to them like a confused tourist. But those moments are now the exception, not the norm. Stealth has been subtly overhauled. Kay moves more intuitively, her actions smoother. While it's nowhere near the precision of Metal Gear or the tension of The Last of Us, it's no longer the clunky side dish it used to be. It's satisfying, finally. Gunplay benefits from rebalanced. Weapons. Each shot has weight. Each kill has rhythm. You feel the feedback, the flow. Still, it's not perfect. The lack of new interactions with your companion Nix is a missed opportunity. But with these refinements, Outlaws stops feeling like a proof of concept and starts playing like a real game. There's a moment in a pirate's fortune when the stars stop being a backdrop and start becoming the battlefield. Midway through the DLC, just when the ground-level skirmishes begin to feel familiar, the pace shifts. You're handed the controls of a Rowana Raider starfighter, not Kay's usual ship, but a beast built for speed and destruction, and suddenly the galaxy opens up. You're no longer just sneaking through tombs or trading blaster fire behind cover. You're dogfighting in deep space, shifting between recon mode for high-speed pursuit and assault mode to unleash missiles in a chaotic ballet of explosions and evasive rolls. The controls aren't new, but the experience is. The speed, the verticality, the rush. It's the kind of sequence that makes you sit up straighter, lean in closer. This is what we imagined when we dreamed of being a rogue pilot in the Star Wars universe. The encounter is big, bold, and shockingly cinematic. Light reflects off your hull, debris spins in zero gravity, enemies surround you, yet you feel in control, like the galaxy's most dangerous ace. It doesn't last long. Maybe that's why it hits so hard. Because for a few glorious minutes, Outlaws becomes something more than a patched-up game. It becomes a memory, a feeling, and that's worth chasing. Star Wars Outlaws may have stumbled in gameplay at launch, but one thing it never lacked, even in its roughest form, was atmosphere. Visually, this universe was always stunning. The kind of beauty that doesn't just impress, it pulls you in. That legacy continues in A Pirate's Fortune. While the DLC doesn't expand into sprawling new planets like the base game, what it offers is just as captivating in a different way. Intimate, handcrafted environments that lean hard into mystery, danger, and awe. The Keepy Tomb, where much of the story unfolds, is a masterclass in Star Wars visual storytelling. Faint, flickering lights dance across ancient walls. Dust particles swirl through tight corridors. Shadows stretch long across the stone, whispering of a time long lost. You feel like you're trespassing somewhere sacred and cursed. The sound. Design only deepens that immersion. From the muted hum of your speeder to the reverberating echo of blaster fire in hollow chambers, every noise is carefully placed. And when Hondo speaks, there's a theatrical richness in Jim Cummings's voice that gives the entire DLC its soul. Even in stillness, the game breathes. Even in silence, it speaks. This is a galaxy that knows how to look and sound like Star Wars. And in A Pirate's Fortune, it finally feels like it too. Redemption in video games is rare. Most titles that stumble at launch fade into obscurity, remembered more for what they could have been than what they became. But Star Wars Outlaws, against the odds, has clawed its way back from the edge. Pirate's Fortune isn't a revolutionary expansion. It doesn't rewrite the rules, but it refines them. It listens. It learns. It dares to earn back trust. One patch, one gunfight, one sarcastic Hondo line at a time. The story doesn't end with fireworks. It ends with a quiet step forward. And maybe that's more meaningful, because after all the hype, the backlash, the disappointment, what we're left with is a game that feels alive. one that deserves a second look, not out of obligation, but because it finally has something worth showing. From tighter combat to cinematic space battles, from atmospheric design to a standout performance by Jim Cummings, this DLC is more than just content. It's a statement, a reminder that even broken beginnings can lead to beautiful recoveries. Will this be the last we see of Kay and Nix? Maybe. But if it is, it's a far better goodbye than we ever expected. And who knows? With time, Star Wars Outlaws may not just be remembered for how it launched, but for how it fought back.